Let's just think about the National Probation Service and a nice example of the importance of looking at different ways of measuring a cost. Let's imagine that you've been hired to advise the local probation service on ways to reduce costs. Now everybody knows that the public sector tends to be quite costly, and in this instance there's a private company who wish to be given the casework. You estimate that the service needs to deal with around 15 cases a year, and you've managed to establish the following average cost curves. As you can see, the average costs for the public sector are higher than the private sector across all possible range of cases, and the particular number of cases that we're interested in is 15. And we can see that with 15 cases, the private sector is able to do that with an average cost of just over £600, whereas the public sector costs over £800. But let's also look at the marginal costs. If we look at the graph showing the marginal costs, we can see that the public sector marginal costs are now lower than the private sector. Although the public sector has a higher average cost, they can complete any given case at a lower cost. It's just that their high fixed costs, which in this instance are largely irrelevant, are inflating their average cost. If we need 15 cases, then the public sector is able to do this for £200 per case, whereas the private sector costs £300 per case. Now, this can also range a discussion about things like sunk costs, public sector efficiency more generally. But in this instance, all that we're establishing is that just because you have a high average cost doesn't necessarily mean that you are less efficient than potential rivals. In economics, decisions need to be made at the margin.